Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, helping transform crowded, dated, or inefficient kitchens into more functional spaces for daily life. Details at callmosby.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. More sunshine and longer days make summer the perfect time to go outside and slow down. And our guests today have a guidebook to help you figure out where and how to do that. Author Don Corrigan and photographer Diana Linsley's new book is titled Scenic Natural Wonders of Missouri. The full-color, soft-cover volume highlights more than 80 sites to enjoy a stroll, a dip, or simple, quiet reflection in the Show Me State. Don and Diana, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, Scenic Natural Wonders of Missouri covers many locations across the state. Don, how did you decide on which to include in this book?
A lot of them really go back to my childhood, and I have to thank my Uncle Stanley and his family for taking me along on their camping trips and canoe trips. Mm-hmm. The cover actually shows Alley Spring, the red mill there, and that was a place we disembarked from many times on trips down the Jacks Fork and Current Rivers in the Mark Twain National Forest.
Mm-hmm. Diana, from this project, were there places that you learned about that you had not known before?
Oh, absolutely. There were several. An example would be Sand Prairie, which is down near New Madrid, mm-hmm. and Los Bluff National Wildlife Refuge near St. Joe, and several others closer down to the Arkansas border.
Mm-hmm. And are these places that you have been to yourself?
Some of them I had in the book. There were many that I had been to, but there were many new discoveries as well. Mm-hmm. And I did go to all of these to take photographs, yes.
Sure. So, writing about and photographing nature, obviously, each of you have some pre-existing love of being in the outdoors. Don, you talked about your Uncle Stanley. And Diana, for you, what was it that got you outside and capturing what you were seeing around you?
Well, I grew up in the country over in Illinois on a hobby farm, basically. I spent a great deal of my childhood in the woodland areas around there, playing in the creeks and walking barefoot in the woods. But what changed fairly recently was during the pandemic. I was a photojournalist at the Webster Kirkwood Times newspaper, and it briefly went down during the pandemic. So I, like most photographers, had problems putting my camera down. I wanted to be out doing something. So I started doing photographs just at first in my backyard, and then branching out into local parks and areas around St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. So the impetus for writing this guidebook, because in 2007, Don, you had a book that went through in text and illustration some of these places that are in this volume. What was the motivation for writing something new?
Well, part of the motivation was I advised the Webster University newspaper, The Journal, for years, and it was about time for me to hang it up, and I decided I need to do something a little different. So I started a outdoor nature writing certificate at Webster, and I started researching these sites, and so that's how I came up with the first book, which I used in a class, and that book is sort of the precursor of this book, and there's a lot of sites that I'd covered in there, but I did more pensive kinds of things because I was telling my students they need to do nature journaling and go to sites. So we actually went right down the street from Webster to Blackburn Park, which is a place where Phoebe Snetzinger, who's one of the top birders, got her start. So it was a great place to show them and get them out there to get started as nature lovers and nature writers.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also the imagery. And Diana, your photography captures geologic features and Missouri's flora very vividly. But there are action shots of creatures, too. And your image of Johnson's shut-ins made me nervous as someone who's never been to a shut-in before. And I'd never even heard of a shut-in before I moved to Missouri. There, people jumping in. And another picture from Big Lake State Park had me rubbing my eyes, and it has what looks like thousands of snow geese. Now, we can't show the photo because this is radio, but we can hear what you experienced.
Yeah.
So, Diana, when you're in nature, there's so much happening around you. How do you decide what to capture with your camera and when to relish the moment with a mental picture or with some pensive writing, Dawn, as you've mentioned?
Well, with the snow geese and action type of photography, you shoot what's pretty much in front of you and all around you. The snow geese were amazing, and I actually went back again a second year in a row after photographing them, because it's just stunning to see all of them flying almost in unison. And while I was there this past March, there were over 700,000 of them at one time in that area. So that was amazing. Mm-hmm. Johnson shut-ins, there's a lot of action going on there, too. People are jumping in and climbing through the rocks. They are having such a good time. Mm-hmm. So basically, I captured people having fun and enjoying the outdoors.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking with Don Corrigan and Diana Linsley. Their new book is called Scenic Natural Wonders of Missouri. It is a guidebook for more than 80 sites across the Show Me State where you can enjoy nature. Now, the locations that are featured in this book, they range from bluffs and lakes and shut-ins, as we just talked about, to places like Forest Park and Missouri Botanical Garden. What was behind the decision to include those places in the city, Don?
Well, we did discuss whether they should be included, like Powder Valley Nature Center or Blackburn Park in Webster Groves, or Powell Park in Kansas City, which is kind of their counterpart. And we said, are these really nature sites? Because so much of it is managed. On the other hand, they're beautiful sites, and they're also a great place for people to get started. Because if you're a little weary or wary of going out into the wilderness, start walking the trails at a place like Powder Valley. See if you like it. And if you do, you can go on to more complex locales to experience nature. So that was our rationale for including those places. And, of course, the Botanical Garden is such a gem. It's so beautiful. If that doesn't get you into nature, you need to stay home and play your video games. But that's part of what this is about, is getting younger people out into nature. Mm-hmm. We need them out there, and we also need them to feel a sense of ownership and protection, to protect these places. Yeah. Because, frankly, some of them get loved too much, or there are funding cuts, and they don't get the protection and real love that they deserve and need.
Mm-hmm. Well, love, protection, those are great. Powder Valley also sounds very friendly. There are a lot of locations in this book with devil somehow in it. And Diana, I understand that Devil's Honeycomb is one of your favorite places. Tell us about that.
Oh, it is. It's a wonderful place. It's not all that well known. There's a very short hike to get to the top of a mound of rocks, basically. And it's very interesting geological site. The formation looks like someone came along and stacked up bricks along the way. And it's a beautiful area. When you get to the top, there's basically a 360 view of Missouri farmlands all around you. And in certain times of the year, it's spectacular colors. So it's a wonderful site. I don't see the devil there at all. Mm-hmm. I think it's really a wonderful area.
And do you have any insight into why there's so many devil locations across the state?
I think one of the reasons is that Missouri is part of the Bible Belt, and when people saw some of these locations, they thought, this is so deep. This cavern is so mysterious. This must be a place for the devil. So and when you walk through the pages, you'll see there's places called Devil's Backbone, Devil's Kitchen, Devil's Canyon. I think it does go back to the early settlers and their religious beliefs.
Yeah. Even up in southern Ontario, where I grew up, there was a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl, which sounded very scary to me as a child. So maybe not the best way for people who are wary of names like that. But it's interesting to hear about that intersection of how places are identified and the things, the ideas and notions that people carry with them. How else is the history of Missouri also in other places that are recommended in this book?
I think the geologic history of Missouri is interesting because the glaciers came down and they sort of stopped on the north edge of the Missouri River. And if you look, all those bluffs are just beautiful, but they're also great for growing grapes. One of the things that I put in this book that wasn't in there before is just Augusta Herman wine country and how beautiful those sites are. And it's a great place to get a glass of wine and look at the vineyards, but also look over the beautiful Missouri River Valley.
Slowing down is very much in the spirit of this book. With the photography that you have in the book, Diana, why is slowing down something important for people to think about?
Oh, I think in nature you need to slow down and appreciate what's around you. When I go for a hike, my hiking partner is usually hiking way ahead of me. I'm rather slow because I'm carrying a camera, and I stop along the way and take photographs all along the path where I'm going. So it slows me down to just stop and enjoy. I also love the sounds of the woods, and the springs are beautiful, soothing sounds. So it's very important just to sit and relax and enjoy the moment.
Well, being in radio, sound is certainly something that we're interested in. And speaking of slowing down, you said, Don, to our producer, Maya Norfleet, something about lying down like a turtle. Where would you recommend people do that?
Well, certainly at the Amadon shut-ins, also Rocky Falls shut-ins, also in Joplin, there's a Grand Falls. I think in this time that we're in when there's so much anxiety and strife, it's great to just get out into the woods, get out to nature. These places have great rocks to lay back on like a turtle.
Yes.
And just sit and listen to the water. It's very soothing, and it kind of goes back to Herman Hesse's Siddhartha, if you've read that book. It's a very calming book, kind of mystical, magical, and that's what I find in the woods.
That sounds just right for many people who are seeking some quiet over the summer. Author Don Corrigan and photographer Diana Linsley's new book is titled Scenic Natural Wonders of Missouri. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scenic Natural Wonders of Missouri is available wherever books are sold. You can also meet Don and Diana at a book signing on June 6th at Forest Park's Visitor Center. Visit scenicnaturalwonders.com for more information.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Laura Hamden, and my colleague Jessica Rogan and I are your daily hosts of the Gateway newsletter. We meet with the editors in the STLPR newsroom every weekday to bring you the top local stories of the day in a quick and easy 6-minute read by 6 a.m. In an age of overwhelm, it's a refreshing, thoughtful take on the news day, if we do say so ourselves.
Fine-tune your daily news habit with the Gateway newsletter. Subscribe at stlpr.org/gateway.